Hello friends, for today's video I am tentatively calling this, at least in my mind currently, books that are so good they make you feel dumb. This can mean a variety of different things, and I actually have 3 different categories that I've broken this concept into, and different stories that fit within each of those categories. So I'm going to list the categories, and then as I go through the stories I'm going to alternate between these categories. But we have some stories where the foreshadowing is so seamless that once the reveals happen, you look back and realize everything was there the whole time. But because the foreshadowing is so good and so subtle, you don't know it was there until the reveal has occurred. And then you look back and you're like, oh my gosh, what? I can't believe I missed that. How did I miss that? There's no way the author literally incorporated that from the beginning, right? And then you look and you're like, oh my gosh, they did. And it blows your mind and you get so excited about it. So I wanted to have some stories that I think that is present within. I also wanted to highlight stories that I think have smart protagonists, as there are a lot of books that tell you characters are smart, or they let you know this character is a trickster, this character is clever, this character is a bookworm. They have this studious individual and that's sort of their personality, but that's not what I wanted to focus on. I wanted to focus on characters that it has a similar feeling to what I just described with the foreshadowing, where they kind of in some ways have clued you in to what they're planning, but you don't really realize it until you get further in. You're like, oh, okay. And then you actually believe that the characters are smart. To some degree, you almost believe the characters are smarter than you. And for some of them, it can just be that there are scenes within the story that showcase their intelligence, but then some it is more of what I described before with the way in which they have their plans revealed to you as you progress. And then the last category is moments that make you go, wait, what? And it's not so much a foreshadowing thing. It's not quite a plot twist, although you almost could categorize it as such. But it's more of just that moment that makes you reel a little bit, and it's essentially the perfect way to describe it is it's that gif of the guy that blinks. And I sort of got inspiration for this idea because there was a story that my husband and I are both a fan of, but I happened to have read before him a certain part, and so when I handed him the thing that he was reading, and I just sat there and watched, and it was that exact reaction of like, wait, hold on. And that to me is one of my favorite moments in reading, and so I wanted to talk about some stories that fit within that. All that said though, jumping into it, the first book on this list would be Witch's Heart. And Witch's Heart falls into the moments that make you go, wait, what? So the idea is, in this story, the premise, we have Angrboda, who is Loki's witch wife, and she is living in isolation because she has powers of foresight, essentially, that Odin wants to take advantage of. However, she is willing to die over and over and over again before she's willing to give Odin her powers, as she does not want to increase his hold on the gods and on society as a whole. Angrboda is living by herself. She gets visited by Loki, and she throughout her story is kind of learning more about herself, the ways of people, the deception of people, the folly. And she is a character that I feel like, despite the fact you don't really get to see her interact all that much with other individuals, you feel this deep connection with her. And when she loves somebody, she loves them so fiercely. So you find yourself really favoring her story and her side of things. And then there is a line at the end of the book that makes you look back and you see everything completely different. Not that you don't care about the things you cared about before. And it's not that you suddenly view her differently. You just view the events of the story through a different lens. And I feel there are very few books that accomplish that, but this one really did. And again, in a single line, one line really transformed to a point where I almost thought, did I read that right? And then it was like, oh wow, this kind of light bulb moment. And I've not found too many books that have accomplished that, but Witch's Heart did it, and it did it phenomenally. Now going to the smart and capable main characters, next up we have, just in general, Abercrombie's works. So I do want to also state, Abercrombie has some incredibly dumb characters in his books, and it's up for you to figure out who's dumb and who's clever, and that's most of what I'm gonna say. But there are certain characters where you don't know that their plans exist until their plans have already been executed and accomplished, and then you're like, oh, well, that sucks. Or, oh, well, nice, cool. And there's different reactions to different characters' plans, and how it all unfolds is really exciting. Sometimes you can kind of predict certain characters' plans, and then other times, because you can predict this character's plan over here, it makes you completely oblivious to what's going on over here, and it makes the twists and turns throughout the story really exciting. And I found this to be true somewhat in First Law, but for me, the Age of Madness trilogy, I think, accomplished this several times. And sometimes I predicted it, and sometimes I was floored and baffled, and I was like, gosh darn it. And I like when authors are so good at their craft that they make you feel like an idiot. So Abercrombie's works in general, you're not going to know it though. You're just going to be like, wait, but Giselle's so stupid. Or, okay, but Glocta's like kind of, he's snarky internally, but is this who she's talking about? You're not going to know. And that's the best. Next up, it was there the whole time. And I'm going to give the example of the Bone Shard Daughter. The Bone Shard Daughter has some pretty capable main characters as well. But it's the things that you discover as you read through the series that you get the, wait, hold on, when it makes you want to go back and reread so you can see the groundwork that the author was laying the whole time. The downside to talking about books within some of these categories is that it's hard to not just describe the feeling you get rather than the actual what's transpiring, because if you describe what's transpiring, you're spoiling. So I know it's a lot of squealing and excitement, but Bone Shard Daughter has such an amazing first entry with one of those, oh my gosh, moments, and you think like, oh, okay, I got it. And then as you read on throughout the trilogy, you're like, wait, do I? And I really enjoy that there is more to discover, that there is something else to be revealed to you throughout the course of that story. Returning to the wait, what prompt, we have Witch Hat Atelier. First off, I have spoken so highly of this manga for a while now. I need more people to get on the hype train for this manga, and I am so excited because if you have not seen, there is going to be an anime adaptation, and I've watched that trailer so many times. I'm so excited for it, and I'm looking forward to hopefully it blowing up because it deserves it, and it's so good and it's so beautiful, and the themes in it are very subtly incorporated into what feels like a rich, immersive, magical, whimsical world, but it really showcases the dark undertones beneath it all, and it does it perfectly. It's so good. But a perfect example of that is there are aspects to the story that make you realize, oh, we're tapping into a lot heavier of topics than I realized, which is somewhat what I'm talking about. But there are a couple of times where you're just kind of, as a reader, metaphorically waltzing along, and you're like, oh, it's so cute, all these kids, they're learning about magic, yay. And then you get to a scene where you're like, wait, hold on. Did that character no, they couldn't have, because they wouldn't, right? Is that what just happened? I don't know if that's just what happened. And it's the best. It's the best. And then you keep wondering, like, wait, I feel like that is what happened. Unless there's more going on. Maybe there's more going on. There's got to be more going on, because I don't feel like that character would do that. And then you're like, oh my gosh, I think the character did that. Did they? I don't know. And I love when you're in that frantic headspace in a story and it leaves you hanging and you just are constantly like, if they did, that changes things. Does it change things? It might change things. And I love the questioning. I love the questioning. If you don't know about Witch Hat Atelier, you follow a young girl named Coco who has an opportunity to learn more about magic, and she is able to learn more about magic through this atelier where you have an adult who is a witch, and he is teaching these young girls alongside another individual who's named Olrugio, and the first one's name is Kifri. And when we get the anime, I'll actually know if I'm pronouncing any of their names right. But regardless, they're teaching these young girls, and there's a lot of trials that come about as part of the training to become a witch. And it is through the philosophical questions and musings of the characters that they really start to wonder if the way in which things are done are the best for all of society. I'll leave it at that. Next up, for the smart and capable main characters, we have Rain and Bruin. This is a fantasy story that definitely has a very prominent romantic subplot, but in the best of ways. We've found it. The fantasy romance story that I feel like is for the fantasy reader. This is very much political fantasy. You're following a young woman who is having to try and keep a hold on her father's will, essentially. Her father is a sultan, and he has a council that he is advised by, specifically, especially by the Grand Vizier, who is undermining her father's authority left and right. Her father, however, is somebody who is starting to lose a little bit of his sense of reality. He is suffering from dementia, and our main character is trying her best. Her name is Naime. She's trying her best to kind of keep her father's condition hidden from the council and the Grand Vizier, because she knows that if they're aware of just how bad it's gotten, that they will pounce and that they will immediately take advantage and they will bend the power to their will as opposed to what would be best for the people, which is what her father has always tried to do. So she is trying to manage all these different things, and the way that she deals with the Grand Vizier and the council, and the way that she tries to subtly and sometimes very forcefully make sure that her father's wishes are honored, that her plans are executed. It's fantastic. There were definitely scenes where you were wondering, like, how is she going to handle this moment? What is she going to do? And she always handled everything with such poise and grace and intelligence. And also the love interest was fantastic. The love story that develops within this was really well done. It never took over the plot. It was seamlessly tied into it. And I know that's what so many of us are craving. This is it. This is, I feel like, the fantasy romance that the fantasy readers are looking for. It's great. If that's you, if you're like, I'm also on the quest, here you go. You found it. You can now complete the quest. It's here. And it's a part of a large series. So I can't wait to read more of the series, because that first one was fantastic and I've heard great things about the rest of it. But regardless, our main character, Naime, very intelligent, very capable, and it was really exciting to see how she accomplished her goals. Next up, we have another manga, and that would be Spy Family. So we're returning to the wait what category, and specifically there is an end of a volume where this is the one. This is kind of what sparked this video. Is I handed this manga volume to my husband, and then I was like, let me know when you're almost done, just so I could sit on the couch and watch him. And it was basically, I mean, Sean might as well have been the gif of that guy blinking, because it was that thing. I watched his eyes go like this to read the dialogue, the text bubbles, and then his reaction of like, wait, what? And I can't recommend this manga enough. Anyway, it's so fun. It's hilarious. It does such a good job of giving its respects to manga at large, but then also poking fun at it and having the best time with it, and then also sort of making fun of the spy, almost noir genre. Also, it's so much fun. If you don't know, the setup is that you follow a spy named Lloyd Forger who needs to get close to this individual that is a threat to their country. And so in order to do that, this person is notoriously reclusive, and the only time he really makes public appearances is at his son's prestigious school. So Lloyd is tasked with getting a child that he is supposed to look like he is the father of, and having that child get into this prestigious school so that he too can attend these events. And in order to do this, he has to adopt a little girl who, unknown to him, has the ability to read people's minds. And then he also, in order to go to the school, you have to be the perfect family unit. And so he has to have a wife, and he happens to, through ridiculous circumstances, find a woman willing to marry him. So he's a spy, his daughter's a telepath, he doesn't know it. Because she's a telepath, she knows that her dad is a spy, and she knows that her new adoptive mom is an assassin, but she's also aware her parents don't know that about each other. And it is chaos and hilarity, and it's great, and it's so funny, and there's a great anime. If you've never watched it, highly, highly, highly recommend. But yeah, there's a scene where, you'll know it when you know it. You know, it's one of those scenes, and it's great. Next up, we have The Thief. Honestly, this could have gone in any of these categories. I'm putting them in the smart MC category. The idea behind this is there is an individual who believes they know where these riches lie. And in order to find these riches, they decide to use the abilities of somebody who is currently imprisoned who was a thief. And that is where our main character comes into the picture. So it's kind of a little bit of a quest fantasy. And along the way, the characters are having conversations, they're talking about the lore of this world, they're talking about gods and goddesses, and you are kind of trying to piece together what is real and what is not within this world, and then also which of these stories is pertinent to or is revealing about the main character. And once you get to the end, those questions are answered, and it's done really well. This is a series that I definitely need to reread the first one of and then continue on, because I've heard that a lot of the entries get even better than the first one. Next up, we have It Was There the Whole Time with Fullmetal Alchemist. I know I hype Fullmetal Alchemist up so much, but that's because it's so good. And in Fullmetal Alchemist, I'm sure many of you know, but you follow two brothers, Edward and Alphonse, and with an alchemical experiment gone wrong, one of them loses an arm and a leg, and the other one's entire body is lost, and his soul has to be attached to a suit of armor. And now these two brothers are on a quest to try and restore their bodies, and it is through this quest that they end up involved in the state military. There's a lot of corruption within their society, and they are seeing where good lies and where evil lies. And there's also a lot of reasons why alchemy has restrictions placed on it. That is barely scratching the surface, honestly. But as you're reading Fullmetal Alchemist, I definitely think the first time I experienced this story, while I loved it, I've always loved it, there's a little bit of it's kind of meandering, you know, she's just throwing whatever in the pot, stirring it up, and then making it all fit in the end. No. When I reread it, I was like, never mind. She knew what she was doing the whole time. She definitely was telling you, here you go, here are your answers. Let's see if you can figure it out. And so I love when you can look back or when you can reread something and even more appreciate what was being done. I love it, and Fullmetal Alchemist definitely has that. We have two more, and we have one more with a smart main character and one more with the It Was There the Whole Time. And so going into the smart main character, we have Spinning Silver. The main character of this story is a force to be reckoned with. She will do whatever she has to do to care for her family, and I just love seeing that resilience in characters. She not only does that though, she creates an environment for other people to come to feel safe, to feel protected, and to essentially be inspired by, which I really love that about Miriam. She is fantastic, and a lot of this story I have frequently described as showcasing the quiet ways in which people fight back. Miriam is not the only capable and interesting character to follow in this story. It is going through a range of different perspectives, and something that is really done, I think, exceptionally in this is seeing the ways in which these characters' stories intertwine. It very much has that classic fairy tale feel, but you don't have a character just stumbling into a bunch of circumstances that they aren't fit for. You actually have a character that, yes, there are powers, I'll say, there are entities, I'll describe them as, that end up involved in the characters' lives, and because our character is such a force to be reckoned with, she faces those things head on. And then last for today, the It Was There the Whole Time, I would be remiss to not include Mistborn. Mistborn has a number of moments that have this feeling. You could almost say it fits within the wait what thing as well, because there are definitely some parts where you're like, hold on. But I think the It Was There the Whole Time is probably the best. And it's hard to describe why, because I really don't want to clue you in as to what specific aspects have been there the whole time, but everything, basically, I'll say. I mean, every question you have, it gets answered, and when it does, you're like, well, I feel dumb. And that is the whole point of this video. Books that are done so well, they make you feel stupid. But anyway, that's it for some books that are so good, they make you feel dumb. And let me know if you have any of your own recommendations that fit any of these categories, or that fit within all three or two of the three, as I love books that can accomplish these feats. Thanks so much for watching though. If you are interested in checking any of these stories out, I'll have them linked in the description bar. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you later.